Have you ever felt so overwhelmed? You know you need self-care, but choosing what to do feels impossible? If you're late discovered autistic like me, sometimes it's about learning how to trust your body again. And that's what today's video is about, utilizing self-care activities that help us in reclaiming the signals a lot of us were taught to ignore or mask or push through. Hi, I'm Brett from Neurodivergent Insights, and today Dr. Neff and I are talking about their latest release, self-care activities for autistic people, based on their amazing book, Self-Care for Autistic People. Dr. Anna Neff is an ADHD autistic clinical psychologist who blends research, clinical insight, and lived experience to make sense of adult neurodivergence. They're the founder of Neurodivergent Insights, and through that, they create clear, compassionate, neurodivergent, affirming education for autistic, ADHD, and AuDHD adults, and for the clinicians who support them. They're the author of Self-Care for Autistic People and the Autistic Burnout Workbook. And now, Self-Care Activities for Autistic People, which is a deck of 100 step-by-step activities and exercises designed to reduce decision fatigue, executive function load, so that you can do something supportive right away when you need it and not later on. So what we're going to do today is Dr. Neff and I are going to go through an unboxing of this amazing pack and all the little cards. And we're going to talk about why autistic self-care is so different and show you a few ways that you can use the deck. I started off our conversation by asking Dr. Neff how we went from the book on self-care to the card deck. You know, your first official book about, autism with self-care for autistic people. How did we go from this amazing book to self-care activities for autistic people? How did we go from this to this?
Donna Henderson. I mean, that's a little bit of a joke, but also true. Yeah, no, Dr. Donna Henderson, who author of Is This Autism, also friend of mine, really have appreciated her over the years. She read the Self-Care for Autistic People and emailed me, and she was like, have you ever thought about turning this into a card deck? This would be a great card deck. And I was like, oh my goodness, I could see it of, like, for example, for clinicians to be able to pull out a single card and talk about it in session, or just how it makes it a little bit more manageable if it's like, okay, I can do a card versus reading a book. So she's the one that put the idea in my head. So we can thank Dr. Henderson. And then I mentioned it to my publisher, who had published Self-Care for Autistic People, and they agreed it was a good idea. And so worked on that last year after the Burnout Workbook. And it's got about 25% of the content is completely new content. And then the ideas, there are some ideas that are mentioned in the book that are then in the card, but they've been refreshed and broken down more into, like, here are the steps of how to do it. The card deck also, and my editors at my publisher house helped me with this. I'm very prone to want to talk about kind of the long-term things. And they were very much like, okay, we need the cards to be something that someone could do, like, right now in this moment. Yeah. And so I also like that. That's another kind of editorial shift to the card deck, is we're trying to focus on things like you could pull it out and do it.
Yeah, we'll do a little unboxing in a second, but that honestly is my favorite part about the cards, is that I'm feeling like if I needed something, I could just grab and go in that moment. So, well, before we jump into that though, let's sort of reset for anybody who maybe didn't read Self-Care for Autistic People. Why is self-care for those of us who are autistic so much different than maybe neurotypical brains?
I think a lot of it goes back to our relationship to our bodies. So things like interoception, alexithymia, self-trust. A lot of us, in a way, have almost had self-care trained out of us, in the sense of, especially if we masked, or if, our stimming or our behaviors were punished in childhood, we would have learned that the things that soothe me are bad. They lead to bad things happening. And that does something pretty terrible for a human, because in that process, we learn, okay, my body's not to be trusted. The signals that it's sending me about how to soothe through movement or through avoiding eye contact, these are dangerous signals that my body are telling me. So much about self-care for autistic people is about reclaiming and renourishing our relationship to our bodies to say, oh, actually these signals it's sending me, it's okay to trust them. Now, of course, we want to nuance that because actually sometimes it's not safe to trust those signals in all contexts because safety is a factor as well. But that ability to self-attune to what's happening internally, to take those signals seriously, to let them matter, that is so foundational to self-care. And that's the part that often gets trained out of us when we're young.
And honestly, that's one of the great things about when you first open the box up is that there's an amazing little booklet right inside in the very front, which I've taken out, that if anybody hasn't read the book or they don't have access to the book or they just want to grab and go, they can open this right up and you very simply, very easily sort of go through those sections and you start to talk a lot about that. So I wonder if maybe we could just do a little unboxing at this point and just sort of go through some of it because it is so simplistically but beautifully designed. So just walk us through, when you open it up, there's a little book. And again, real quickly, what can people expect in the little book there?
So this little book, it's kind of a recap of like what is self-care and an introduction to the different sections, how to use the card deck. So it's a nice primer for if this is a new concept to you, a bit to get you started.
And then as we open up the box further, there is 6 tabs.
Yeah, and these align in the self-care book. There are also 6 categories of self-care. So these align with those categories as well. And so, you could pick like, okay, I need some sensory self-care. And then you could just pick a card from there. And then on the front, like give some context for the activity. So explore and embrace your favorite stems is this one. And then on the back, it talks through the steps of doing that. So we're trying to reduce kind of executive functioning load and cognitive load by breaking it down into this. This is how you would do that activity.
Yeah. Walk me through a little bit about how ideally we should be using this. I mean, it seems pretty self-explanatory, but when you're kind of in a moment, maybe a moment of overwhelm, maybe you're just feeling, what is a good direction from you about how we should think about using the deck?
Partly I like it because it's flexible. So I think it could be used in a lot of different ways. Like I mentioned in therapy. So therapists could be using it through kind of if you start your sessions with some sort of grounding practice, maybe having that. It could be used if you just know you're in a moment of like having a hard moment, but I know for me, I get a lot of decision fatigue of like, I know I want to do something that's good for me, but I don't know what. Then almost treating it like a game of like, let's see what I pull out. Now it's possible you pull out something you're like, let's try again. Like maybe that just doesn't feel accessible in the moment. But that's also why I like the sensory, physical, emotional is I know for me, and this has been through some, training of improving interoception. I typically have a pretty good sense of like, my sensory system just needs something, or like I'm emotionally like if I'm kind of ruminating and or in a more low mood, then I know that I might like kind of emotionally or mental health, I might want to pick something there to work on. So that's another reason I like the dividers is sometimes we have a sense my body needs something, my emotions need something, or my sensory system needs something.
Well, and that's what's so great about it is that really you can just grab and go. There's no particular order. You don't have to start at one and work to the other. You can just literally just pick out a card, grab it, read it, and then go. And, just flip it into the back. And then there's so many helpful things here. You can just grab and go. And as you said, if you're not really sure which one of the tabs you're feeling in that moment, you can just sort of bounce around as you need to.
One thing, as you said that I just thought of that I would like, if I was using this, I would, some of the exercises won't resonate with everyone. Understandably, there's like over 100 activities. So some will, some won't. If you pull out a card and it's just like, this isn't an activity that would be nourishing for me, I would like either discard it, although I guess it wouldn't look as pretty in the box, or find a place to put those so that when you are randomly pulling, like I know for me, I often will try maybe, for example, 10 or 15 things, and I'll find maybe 3 to 5 that work really well for me. So I would say that would also be a way to use it, is to curate your experience so that if you are regularly pulling them out, it's kind of from a repertoire,
repertoire. Yeah,
of
repertoire.
like ones that you know work well for you.
I love that idea because actually, now that you're saying that, I'm thinking about if I've read the book, which is in the front, the book usually lives it here in the front, move the book to the back, and then I use the book as a divider. So that when I'm done with one, or if there's one that doesn't resonate, I can put it behind the little booklet in the back of the box and then just keep going. So yeah, that's a great idea.
I think about it like with like a music playlist of like, if I don't like it, I put it like, I don't want to have it reappear, but if it's one I like, I'll put it on a like smaller playlist where I'm more likely to see it again.
Now, remember, the goal of this is not to have a perfect routine or to have perfect self-care. It's about having something to support you that you can immediately reach for on those hard days or in those hard moments when you need it. So be sure to check out more information in the description below for where you can find out about self-care activities for autistic people and self-care for autistic people, the book, as well. We've placed a link below where you can order it and find out more information about it. You can also find out more information about Neurodivergent Insights, Dr. Meg and Anna Neff, and everything that we do at Neurodivergent Insights, including our newsletter, this YouTube channel, and the podcast, the articles that Dr. Neff writes every week, and the newsletter that you can sign up for, and so much more, including our workbooks, training courses, and more. If you found this conversation helpful, we would love for you to like and subscribe. It really does help our channel grow and helps us reach more people with our education. Be sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to give us a follow, and let us know in the comments if there's something that you have a question about or if there's something that you'd like to know more information about. And when you get your self-care card deck or you're reading the self-care book, let us know in the comments below which activity or which tip worked best for you. We'd love to hear from you and find out what works for everybody in the community. Thanks for watching. We hope that you can check out some of the other videos while you're here.